You are listening to the Align and Inspire podcast. My name is Lauren Monique, and I am here with a guest today, and we're going to be talking all about how to really run your business in a way that feels aligned, yes, but also makes use of your time, because it can be challenging if you are anything like me and you have multiple responsibilities, and how to make the use of your time. Because I mean, honestly, I have lots of productivity hats and I'm still running to get my kids every day after school. So I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today, Kristen Van Horn. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And I totally understand. There are times where I am still running to get to things on time because I will forget something.
Yeah. And honestly, my big thing is I'm always like, oh, I'm just going to finish this one extra thing, or I'm just going to finish this thing. And then I'm like speeding to get, like running to get to school. So yes.
It's always that. I was like, oh, that won't take me very long. I'll just do it really quick. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be on a call right now. I was like, oh,
Yes.
no, that's why I need to be things take longer than I think they should.
Yes. And I've gotten so much better at that, but every once in a while it still gets me. So
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about how you got started and who you help, what it is that you do.
Yeah. So I started my business 7 or 8 years ago when I was teaching full time. I was a middle school PE teacher. And probably unlike you, Lauren, the first day that I stepped foot in the classroom, I go, this is not what I was supposed to be doing. This is not cut out for me. I loved fitness. I had a background in exercise science, and I was like, I don't love this. And at the time, I had a 1-year-old at home, and I really wanted to be home with her. I hated leaving her every single day. So I knew that I needed to support our family, and I randomly had someone reach out to me who I was blogging at the time, and she asked me if I wanted to be a guest blogger for her and we could switch blogs, and she was doing what I wanted to do. And I had no idea that I could have an online business. I didn't realize it was a thing because this was like 2012. So like Instagram had just started. So everything was very, very new. And she became my first business coach. And since then, I went from having a run coaching business to being able to quit my job from that run coaching business to now the one thing that I got asked more than anything. And even at the time when I was run coaching was how can specifically moms really make the most of their time? How can they fit everything they need to get done and everything they want to get done within that 24-hour period? And so I really stepped into that. And I love helping specifically female entrepreneurs and moms really make the best use of their time so that they can have ambitions, grow a thriving business, and still have time to spend with their families.
Yeah, I love that. And yes, so relatable. Even though I've done so much to that, it can still feel like your kids can derail when they're homesick or something happens, or, you're always balancing both of those worlds. So definitely very, very relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on a podcast recently, and I said something about like, oh, my kids have been home with me all week. I've never been happy that my kids are sick, but that is the beauty of having a business that I can work from home and it doesn't totally uproot my life because I don't have to create sub plans now, and I can just take off and still, or even do what I need to get done because I have a sick kid at home.
Yeah, totally. So I would love to hear from you. Like, if someone is feeling like, oh my gosh, I have so much on my plate right now. I don't feel like I'm doing anything well, or they're just feeling really stretched thin with everything that they have going on, running their business. Maybe some people listening in are still working part-time. Where would you recommend people to get started with feeling more in control of their time and less like they're running out of it?
Yeah. So a lot of times if you're feeling scattered, overwhelmed, things like that, typically it becomes like an awareness issue where you're not aware of where your time is actually being spent or how long things actually take you or what the priorities are in your business. And a lot of times we are spending so much time looking at the to-do list and figuring out what needs to happen to get things done that we're actually spending more time on things that aren't a priority, like checking emails or reacting to the things that come up on a regular basis instead of the things that are actually going to move the needle forward. And so when we have this awareness issue, it becomes this like, oh, this needs to happen and this needs to happen, instead of going like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to figure out the 3 things that I need to do today, get those done. And if I have more time, I'll go to the rest of my to-do list to figure that out. But when we are going off of that main to-do list and trying to fit in where things need to be fit instead of actually planning it out ahead of time and figuring out what the priorities are, we feel that scattered and overwhelmed. So really having an awareness of, okay, where am I spending my time right now? And what are the priorities that need to get done can make a world of difference in that stress, so that you're not reacting, you're actually being proactive with your day.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable. And a couple things that you said that I wanted to touch on. First off, I'm guessing for people listening, there might be some people who think, I don't just have 3 things to do. I have so much more than that. What would you say to those 3 priorities?
Okay, that's so good. So in business, and I tell my husband this all the time, because we'll be like, if we have a kid who has like a practice or something, typically one of us goes and we work during that time. It's just like a little bonus work day that we get for an hour, hour and a half. And it'll come down to like, well, do you have something that you need to work on tonight? And like, I always have something to work on. There is never a time in my business where there's not something that I could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what that means when we're talking about priorities is, yeah, my to-do list, every single Friday, I sit down and I plan out my week ahead of time and I write down everything that I need to get done for the week. But instead of starting my day looking at my to-do list, that really, really mile-long to-do list that I have, and going like, oh, what do I need to work on today? I'm going, okay, this is my day. On Mondays is my day where I am business focused. I don't have any calls that day except for like team meetings, meeting with a business partner, those sorts of things. So what are the things that need to happen specifically for my business today? Tuesdays, oh, it's a call day. So who are my clients that I need to work on today? What questions do I need to make sure that we're covering? What are the other things that need to be done in my business? If I have a day that doesn't have calls, okay, what is the main projects or the big time-consuming things that need to get done today? So instead of working off the to-do list all the time, it's really breaking down to what are the most important things that need to get done today. So I don't know if you've heard of this before. It's called the Eisenhower matrix. It's what are the things that are urgent? What are the things that are important? I don't love it because I feel like everything can be urgent all the time and everything can feel important all the time. There's no aspect of my business that's not more important than the other, really. But when we have that idea of these are the most important things that need to get done today, because if they don't get done today, the world will end. It's not going to. But I want to make sure that if I get these 3 things done, great. If I don't get these 3 things done, and I will tell you, yesterday, I got 1 thing done on my 3 priority to-do list. 1 thing. And that's okay. Guess what? I have time because I've planned out my week. I know what needs to get done, that I can move that to the next day and get it done the next day. Or maybe it wasn't as urgent as I thought it was. Or maybe one of those other things that I thought was urgent isn't as urgent and I can move it and get that other thing done. So instead of, it comes down to like really planning ahead, being proactive, figuring out like what actually moves the needle forward. What are the actual things that need to get done? It doesn't mean that your to-do list isn't not going to grow. It just comes down to what are the things that absolutely have to get done today and what are the things that can wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I love that you said about that wiggle room, is I think sometimes people have a hesitation to planning out their week. And when you allow for buffer time or space within it, then it still can move, but it gives you that intention. And then I always feel like, oh, I was productive today because I hit those 3 things that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
One thing, though, that you mentioned too was the needle movers. And I remember when I was, 2-3 years in business, and I kept hearing people say like, focus on your needle movers, focus on your revenue generating activities. And I was like, yes, I would if I knew what those were.
Yes.
So what to you are the needle movers? If someone is listening and they run like a coaching business of some sort, maybe you've got one-on-one clients or you have some sort of course or group, like what are the needle movers for you?
So I think it comes down to really just two things. And one of them is, how am I bringing new people in? So what am I doing to market my business? Am I posting on social media? Am I sending out emails? Am I writing blog posts or doing podcasts? Things like that, that gets me in front of more people. Because if we don't have traffic, we don't have leads or sales. Like, that's just the reality of it. So what can I do to market my business every single day? I need to get in front of new people. However, the other issue comes like, okay, so I'm in front of new people. I brought new people in. I need to get these people to stay. Because what I have learned is, when I have a great client who loves what I do, they're going to tell more people about it. So I want to make sure that I'm giving my clients the best experience that they possibly can. So my needle movers that I think in most businesses are, okay, what are my outward marketing? How am I bringing new traffic in? How am I providing the best program, product, service that I can absolutely do for the clients that I do have? Those are the things that I want to focus on the most, because those are the things that are actually going to produce the revenue for me. So my business really goes around that. So a lot of this looks like, okay, I'm spending, 15, 20 minutes a day on creating social media marketing. I'm creating emails, whether it's sales emails, value emails. I'm spending some time on that during the week. I'm creating podcasts during the week. I'm setting aside time to produce, training videos for my clients, or getting on calls with clients, or, giving the deliverables for my clients. Those are the things that I know that need to be done and are the things that are going to move the business forward. And a lot of that is the stuff that only I can do. Only I can be the one who writes the emails. Only I can be the one who does the content. Only I can be the one who coaches my clients. Everything else probably is something that I can have a VA do, and I can delegate and outsource that so that I can focus on the things that are actually going to generate revenue.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the big switches for me was, like, if I don't do the things that are going to sell my business and get in front of new people, like, I'm not going to get paid. Like, it would be like going to work and like not going to work. You're not going to get paid. Like, yes, you need to provide an excellent service. And obviously that's one of my main focuses, is helping you create something that's going to really be fantastic for your clients. But if you don't get in front of new people, I mean, honestly, I remember a few years ago, like, I had a whole system in place. Everything was rolling. Like, I was getting new clients in. My program was going well. I loved everything I was doing. And then I hit a plateau and I started to decline, and I could not figure out why. And it was because I was nurturing my audience. I was selling, I was doing my program, but I wasn't getting in front of new people. And it just didn't really dawn on me that I wasn't getting in front of new people enough. And that can really stall out your business, which, like, in retrospect, I'm like, why didn't I see that? But it's like you can get so in your business that you don't even realize, because there's so many different things you could be doing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's when I'm looking at data and like reviewing that sort of things. I'm looking at like, did new eyes see this? Like, did my, Instagram grow? Did my email list grow? If it did, and it's still like, if it's still not selling, then it's probably a messaging problem. It's not a traffic. It's either a traffic problem or a sales problem. Like, what is the two things? So I'm usually looking at those data and focusing on, when it comes to the needle movers, like, okay, if I sent this email out and not everybody, got less than a 1% click rate on it, then, I probably have a messaging problem. Or some of these I need to get new people on my list, so new people are seeing this, because otherwise it becomes an issue. I'm not going to make sales if I'm selling to the same people who don't want what I have, and they're just hanging out on my list.
Hanging out on my list.
Yes. Just hanging out.
Another thing that you mentioned was, if you need to do the things that only you can do, and then you can delegate to maybe a VA. So if someone's listening and it's their first time thinking about either hiring out in their home, because I always think about that too, that you can hire out in your home to support you, especially as a mom, or they're looking for help in their business, where would you recommend getting started? Because I think a lot of people listening are like, they're just getting started with thinking about having someone support them.
Yeah. So in your home, I totally agree with you, because I really struggled to ask for help, especially in my home. And I'm very much a type A person. And if it's not done right, I might as well do it. And I'm trying to get over that fact. But there's like little things, like when my kids are home for the summer, I give them, instead of me doing all the cleaning in my house, because if you can't afford to hire a cleaning person, that's fine. You do have helpers. And so
yes.
I love my helpers and they love to make money. So if I can pay them to do the things that I don't have time to do because they're home in the summer, they can do it while I work. And then when I'm done working for the day and they're done with their chores for the day, we can hang out. It's great. We can go to the pool, do the things. So you have helpers. There are probably people in your house that can help you out if you can't afford to hire someone for that. So my kids do chores. My husband is actually the cook in the family because I hate doing it and I'm not good at it. And he's actually really good at it. So those are things that like I delegate in my house to have people do for me. When it comes to my business, I was terrified to hire a VA because at the time I didn't feel like I was making enough money. And
Mm-hmm.
I hired very, very early on in my business. So I had been in business maybe 6 months when I hired out, but I was also still working full time. And I was so nervous to do it. And I actually hired a friend of mine who actually became a business partner down the road. We're no longer business partners, but she's still helping me in my business. But all I did was hire her to schedule things for me because I took the time to write the content. I didn't want to take the 15, 20 minutes it was going to take to schedule everything or to format a blog post correctly or to create the images for me because those weren't things that I needed to do. If I could have someone do it for me and I just needed to approve it, I would rather take the 2 minutes to approve it than to spend 20 minutes doing it myself. My time is it's my currency. It's my most valuable asset. I want to make sure that I have more of my time because I don't get that back. So what I started realizing when I would do a task, I would ask myself, is this something that I need to do or is this something that somebody else can do? And so even now, like I have a client project that I need to work on. And it was something like, oh, I can get this started, but the rest of it, my VA can do, and it'll be totally done. And I don't have to spend the probably 3 hours it would take me to do on it because she can actually do the rest of it and probably get a better outcome because she has more hours that she can work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that is always my question especially when it's a new task is this something that only I can do, or is this something that I can delegate? Can I delegate it? Can I automate it? Can I delete it? Can I eliminate it? Because there are things that you're probably doing in your business that don't need to be done anyway.
Yeah. Like when I realized either is it something simple that I could let go of, like say my replays. Any of my coaching call replays, I do not upload them. I have a VA upload them. It's something simple. She does it every week. I don't need to worry about it. That's not something I need to do because I need to be spending my time doing things that will bring in more money to the business or hiring someone that will make you more money back. Like hiring someone, like I have my launch manager and she makes sure that all of the details and every time I do a launch, every time I do a webinar, all of those extra details are taken care of. My funnel works, everything's rolling. So then I don't lose out on sales. So she pays, like it pays for itself because her role, like she makes me more money in what she does. So is it something that you can either let go of so you can spend more money on revenue generating activities or spend time having someone who can create more revenue in your business too? But I was terrified. 100%. I so relate to that.
Yeah, it's scary. And the thing is, a lot of times it doesn't cost that much money. And what I found was the month that I hired my VA just to schedule social media and blog posts for me, I ended up tripling my revenue in
Wow.
that month. So it was like, oh, this actually ended up paying for itself. Now, I can't say that that's going to happen for everybody, but that is what happened for me. And I was like, oh, my time was actually like I wasn't spending time on the revenue producing activities. So hiring someone actually helped me make more money, which in the long run, like you said, you either are going to invest your own time or you're going to invest your money. Like you're just going to get to that point in your business where that is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was great to have you.
Yeah,
Where
thank you.
can the listeners find you if they want to hear more about you or listen into your podcast? Any resources that you have to offer, let us know.
Yeah, so I spend most of my time hanging out on Instagram. My handle is at Kristen Van Horn _. Send me a DM. Would love to hear from you. And then you can listen to my podcast. It's called Beyond Busyness. When you search it, it's Beyond Busyness by Kristen Van Horn. I don't know why it doesn't come up as the other one, but it's on all podcast platforms.
Fantastic. Well, we will link them both up in the show notes. Is there anything that you would add to call this episode complete before we close out?
Ooh, that's such a great question.
Any words of encouragement or anything that you would add?
I think the biggest thing that and this is more of like a mindset thing that a lot of people, especially when you're struggling with time, is to remember like you can only control what you can control. So when you have some of that control over it, like you can plan out your day perfectly. It's not going to always stay with that. But if you remember, like, I can only control the things that are in my control, it makes such a difference. And the same goes with, people's thoughts about you. Like, if you're struggling with, I want to make sure that I'm doing this great, or I want to make sure that these people think that I'm the best at that I'm the authority, that I don't look stupid, things like that. You can't control what they think about you. There are going to be people who don't like you, and that's okay. You are the best at what you do, and you know that, and trust your instincts with that. And just remember, like, you can only control the things that are in your control.
I love that. And yes, around boundaries, all of that stuff with your clients, like we were talking about. Yeah, it's remembering what you can control. I love that. What a great note to end on.